Dakota, karibuni Carolina, twawapenda. Jimbo letu Carolina linapendeza kwa macho. Jimbo letu Carolina linapendeza kwa macho. Halo, halo, karibuni hapa kwetu Carolina. Halo, halo, karibuni hapa kwetu Carolina.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you all for being here again. This is our fifth convention of the DICOTA, Diaspora Council of Tanzanians in America. We have some slight changes with the schedule. I'll be back on the stage. We are honored to have Mayor Bell in our presence, the mayor of Durham, North Carolina. If you could please come up. We have a proclamation that is going to deliver on behalf of North Carolina. Mayor Bell, you're welcome.
Good morning. It is an honor to have an opportunity to serve as the mayor of Durham, but it's always an honor when I have an opportunity to bring greetings on behalf of the Durham City Council. And let me say, you honor us by hosting your convention here in Durham, North Carolina. I know the local committee spent quite a bit of time putting this together, and I'm sure that you guys are going to have an enjoyable time while you're here. So welcome to Durham, North Carolina, again. And to the Honorable Ambassador, we had an opportunity to meet some time ago, and I'm glad to see you again this morning. First time, Durham is the fourth largest city in the state of North Carolina. We are behind Charlotte, Raleigh, Greensboro, about 229,000 people. We're a city that has no ethnic majority. We're a very diverse community, and we pride ourselves in that. We're a city whose economy has moved from tobacco, textiles, furniture into high-tech city of medicine. We're home to Research Triangle Park, many Fortune 500 scientific companies here, home to Duke University, North Carolina Central University, North Carolina School of Science and Math. So we're a community that has fast begun to take part of the growing economy that's happening in our community. But we're also a city that has, with all our resources, we still have too much poverty in our community. When you look at a community of about 230,000 people, probably about 40,000 are below the poverty line. And we're working very hard to try to move that away. So while there are good things happening in our community, we have challenges, but we were very comfortable we're going to be able to meet that. I had the privilege of visiting Tanzania probably about 3 or 4 years ago, and I really enjoyed myself while I was there, and hopefully I'll have an opportunity to return. But what I'd like to do this morning is to present a proclamation. I won't read all of it, but it speaks to the fact that the Diaspora Council of Tanzania in America, DICOTA, was formed in February 2009 as a nonprofit, independent, nonpartisan, non-sectarian organization dedicated to the promotion of knowledge about Tanzania and its economic growth. It speaks to the fact that the organization serves as a source of constructive dialogue and a catalyst for positive change in Tanzania, and offers diverse voices in public disclosure and the United States of America on current issues concerning Tanzania. It speaks to the fact that this convention brings together members of the Tanzanian diaspora in the United States, Tanzanian private sector and government officials, business leaders, and community leaders with vested interests in investment and growth in the country. Whereas Durham in the state of North Carolina is home to a growing Tanzanian community that contributes to the stature of the city and the state as a global space for cooperation and vital exchange of investment opportunities, whereas DICOTA and the Tanzanian American community has been very active in fostering a shared vision for development, empowerment, and civic engagement of Durham and North Carolina's African American immigrant community, And whereas the Tanzanian people in Durham make a rich and significant contribution to the strength of the city, dedicating their talents, traditions, and views points to the fabric of our life, whereas all the people of Durham should use this opportunity to celebrate the vibrant culture and heritage of the Tanzanian community. Now, therefore, I, William V. Bill Bell, Mayor of the City of Durham, North Carolina, do hereby proclaim October the 3rd, 2014, as Tanzania's Diaspora Day in Durham. And give yourself a clap. Thank you. And we urge all citizens to take special note of this observance and appreciate the contribution the Tanzanian American community has made to our city. Witness my hand, Corpus Christi City of Durham, North Carolina. This is the 3rd day of October 2014. And we have the proclamation. I guess I'll present it to our speaker up here. And I really would like the ambassador, if he would join me to accept this.
Chief Secretary, please.
You know, this is one of the lively, I go to a lot of conventions, speak at a lot of conventions, welcome a lot of people. This is the best one. I just like and unfortunately, I'm going to have to leave because I do have another commitment, but we do wish you the best, and I'm sincere when I say you honor us by having your convention here in Durham, and certainly hope you don't make it the last. Enjoy yourselves and have a good time. Good things are happening in Durham. This is one of the good things. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay. At this time, we are going to sing the national anthems. We have the children's choir. If they're ready, please come up.
Hello, my name is John Manuel. I just want to tell you a little bit about the National Anthem of America. It was formed by a special figure named Francis Scott Key. He was captured by the British, and the British, they said if the flag was still standing, then that means they won the battle. And so later on the next day, the flag was still standing, and that means America won the battle. And so then he formed the song and wrote the words to the Star-Spangled Banner. And it was my pleasure and honor to introduce Lydia Idasi to sing the National Anthem of America. Please stand as we sing the National Anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner
Yeah, my name is Ndaga Makabuta. I'm the DICOTA president. I'll be here to present a welcome note. And I'll be going through basically welcoming you to the convention. Then we talk a little bit about DICOTA, what we accomplished so far, and what's going to be the action items and the future. So I would like to acknowledge the presence of Ambassador Sefue, our guest of honor. We are so glad you're here. Thank you for coming. Mayor Bell, yeah, we thank him for proclamation as well. So, and we do have Honorable Council Sherberg. Thank you for coming. Rosemary Jairo, our Director for Diaspora in Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Thank you very much for coming. Ambassador Mulamula, one who is also our own. Thank you so much for coming. We do have all the convention sponsors. I'll mention them a bit more. Community leaders who are here. I saw Idi Sandal. Thank you very much for coming. Our delegate, ladies and gentlemen. So I'll start by mentioning the sponsors who made this thing to be possible. I'll start with the President's Office. That's from Ambassador Sefue, Bank of Tanzania, Azania Bank, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Public Service Pension Fund, PSPF, Tanzania Embassy in Washington, D.C., Tanzania Revenue Authority, PPF, ESM Travel, North Carolina A&T, Landspec Pro, Rogers Exports, Simplest Point Incorporated, Sherry Morel, Global End Solutions, TBA Consulting, Umoja Phone, Vigimambo, Geeks Plus, National Housing Corporation, NHC, CRB PLC, 90 for Life, Didas Couture, General Foundation, Mr. Meke, and New York Life Insurance. So those are sponsors. Thank you so much. As I said, we talk a little bit about, at a very high level, about DICOTA. So we are here basically to engage your Tanzanians and their supporters to promote and enhance sustainable development for our country, and also to make sure that the relations between our two countries are going to be sustained. That is our mission for DICOTA. It's a non-profit organization which was incorporated under Minnesota laws in the year 2009. So objectives basically is to make sure that we create a portal or platform for Tanzanians in America and our supporters, together with the both governments, America and Tanzania, to make sure that we are going to concentrate in developing our country, investing in all the philanthropic and development sustainable projects, and also to utilize our intellectual investment and also financial capitals to make sure that they are going to be aligning with our goals of developing our country. We're also aiming at promoting the infrastructure in Tanzania. And the last one is the bigger of all, is to unite all Tanzanians in America to be together, develop ourselves, and develop the two countries that we are coming from. So this is the structure of our organization. We do have members, that's the main part of our organization. So it's member-driven organization. Then we do have the so-called Board of Trustees. We do have Advisory Council. It's not yet operational yet, as we are still building the organization. Then underneath here, we have all the executive team, starting with the president, secretary, deputy secretary, treasurer, and the assistant treasurer. And we have something called secretariat, which again is not yet in operation, as we are still young and growing. Now, going back from the year 2008, where about 30 individuals, they sat down and they come with the idea of having the organization called DICOTA. And after that, we have the first, we call it inaugural convention in Houston, Texas. And basically it was about forming the organization and finalizing all the procedure and everything that was needed to make the organization more operational and functional. And also we discussed a lot about how diaspora can be engaged in developing Tanzania, and also the role of diaspora together with Tanzanian embassies and all people around to make sure that we are all in the common goals of making sure that we have solid organization that can be used to develop ourselves and go back and develop our country. Then we did have our second convention in Minnesota in the year 2010 in Minneapolis. And basically, the main, I can say, theme out of the theme was to take some join and take some action in the Kilimo Kwanza. That was mainly about agriculture. See how we can invest and develop our country through the agriculture. And also, we added an inception of the so-called West Study, that is an NSSF scheme for, it's like insurance, and also Tanzanite account from the CRDB. I'll talk a bit more about that in the later stage. Then the other convention, the third one was in Washington, D.C., and the good thing is it's on the convention that we did together, or we organized together the embassy of Tanzania in the Washington, D.C., and basically before that we were able to ratify our bylaws, and we did the election for the first time, because before that it was under interim leadership. And also we were able to establish a lot of good relationship with the major sponsors, agencies, business and government. When I say government, I mean Tanzanian government as well as state governments in here and federal government. And that was the time as well when our study project was launched during the convention. The fourth one was in Chicago 2 years ago. And mainly our main focus was to make sure that we are 100% involved in the process of reviewing our constitution in Tanzania. So we were able to form a small committee that was going hand in hand with the Constitution Review Committee in Tanzania. And we started with sending out our opinions regarding what we need to be in the new constitution. And we ended up by having our own representative in the Constitutional Assembly. That is almost ended, maybe, yeah, two days from now it's going to be ending. And our main agenda that we are pushing there was about dual citizenship or birthrights for Tanzanians who are here, who have already acquired another citizenship, like U.S. citizenship. So Singo Kadali is going to be here tomorrow and is going to tell us more about what really transpired in the Constitutional Assembly. Then we go to the challenges. As always, we are still young and we are still facing a lot of challenges. So one is the bigger one. We are still facing some difficulties on organizing all Tanzanians in the U.S. We are trying very hard, and we are trying to work with the Tanzanian community leaders to make sure that we bring together everybody without any discrimination, to make sure that all Tanzanians feels like DICOTA should be theirs and part of it. And regarding the study project, yes, the project took off, but we have a lot of problems, I can say, but it still is going. So we have like the registration is still very low due to the complication in the payment system, of which we are still talking or working together with the NSSF to smoothen out the process and make sure that most people are involved. The good thing with the study, it was born in this organization, it's our ideas, and we are the ones who sold the idea to the NSSF, and they saw it was a good idea, and we worked together. We did a survey to make sure that to know exactly what we will be getting out of it, and it's a good product, one of the best products that we have, and we are going to make sure that is going to be sustained. It's one of those logistic issues that if they're going to be solved, then it will be very good, and I'm hoping that will happen very soon. Yeah, and also Tanzanite bank account from CRDB. Yeah, they're still having very low numbers, and I think it's what we are used to here when it comes to banking fees. So there's something that we are going to work on with the CRDB to see where we can have the cross point or meeting point to make sure that somebody doesn't feel that he's going to spend a lot in terms of fees to maintain banking in Tanzania, and make sure that whatever that is in there can be used to develop themselves and develop the country for Tanzania. Now, what are the actions, items that for the future for DICOTA? Definitely, we are going to continue to engage our Tanzanians in the United States of America by providing platform whereby we'll be able to invite everybody to come and discuss our own things, our own terms, that where we want to see ourselves 5, 10 years to come, and also where what we want to see for Tanzania in terms of development. So we are planning, is still in process of developing the database for Tanzanians in here, in America, and make sure that we know all the information about everyone. And if we need to, for example, find who is where and is doing what, and to connect people who are doing more the same, and join the forces together, intellectual and the financial capital, and use that for purpose of developing ourselves and go back to develop our country in Tanzania. So we are going to continue supporting and sustaining diaspora products like your study, Tanzanite account, and many more, like PPF, they're going to come up with some products. We are still in discussion with them. So all those products, to us, we feel they are like ours, and we are going to make sure that they sustain for the betterment of ourselves and the betterment of our country in Tanzania. Okay, so as I said, we are going to continue to do massive campaign to recruit new members for the diaspora, and develop all the strategies to enable to being more independent and self-reliant. So as I said, we are still young, 5 years, maybe 6 years old, and we have a lot of things to accomplish. Most of us, we are just volunteering our time, and if you're going to grow to be big enough, it means you're going to be able at least to hire some staff to work full time, and that's the time where we're going to be maybe more productive. We're going to put in place all things that we want for our organization and for our country. Okay, so let me end up here. Thank you so much for listening, and I welcome you all for the convention. We're looking forward for the 2 very productive days, and thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Ndaga, for those words. I will not be long because we have some very, very great speakers this evening. I do have a couple of housekeeping items that I wanted to briefly go over with you today. One of the things, I think this was mentioned also yesterday evening in preparing for this effort takes great coordination, both from members of the diaspora in the United States and also government officials from Tanzania. Unfortunately, through the process of planning, we did have one of our significant partners from the government of Tanzania passed away within the week. And this is somewhat tragic because we had been in conversation with them, we were on the phone with them, we were emailing back and forth, and midweek we were notified, just as we were going to print our program, this individual was actually on the program, and we were called by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that one of our partners had suffered an untimely death. And this time, I would like to honor the late Mr. Amisi. He was actually the director of the Diaspora Department in the President's Office in the Revolutionary Government of Zanzibar. So if you could please stand for a brief minute of silence in honor of our significant partner, and then we'll proceed with the program. Thank you. Without further ado, Balozi karibu sana. We're honored to have the ambassador here with us, who's been a great partner in the planning process. I think we started off with quarterly meetings, then monthly meetings, and I think towards the end it seemed like we were talking every day, Balozi. Karibu.
And we are still talking.
And we're still talking.
Asante Lunda, Your Excellency, Ambassador Sifue, Chief Secretary, Tanzania President's Office, Permanent Secretary Kidata, the DICOTA President and the Organizing Committee, Your Excellency, Ambassador Sifue, Chief Secretary, Tanzania President's Office, Permanent Secretary Kidata, the DICOTA President and the Organizing Committee, Your Excellency, Ambassador Sifue, Chief Secretary, Tanzania President's Office, Permanent Secretary Kidata, the DICOTA President and the Organizing Committee, our distinguished representative from Tanzania in your various capacities. Karibuni sana. Our Tanzania community leaders from different states. Now you. Our Tanzania Honorary Consul in Minnesota, Honorable Shebej. Our dear friends and partners, distinguished delegates, should I call you delegates? Our friends from the United States agencies, my dear sisters and brothers, what a day. This is my first time attending the convention. This is the 5th one, but as you heard from the mayor, this is one of its kind. I'll see you. So it gives me great honor and pleasure on behalf of the Tanzania Embassy, and indeed on my own behalf, to welcome you all to our 5th DICOTA convention. Karibuni sana. I would like in a special way to extend a very warm welcome and my profound thanks to Ambassador Ombeni Sefue for accepting our invitation to come, traveling long distance from Tanzania to be with us here today. Chief Secretary, your presence here demonstrates your unwavering commitment to energize the diaspora. We honor you for being the founder of DICOTA. We were greatly honored by the presence of the mayor of the city of Durham, Honorable William Bell. We are indeed extremely touched and highly appreciative of his proclamation of this day as the DICOTA and Tanzania Day. We say asante sana to the mayor. I would like to extend my profound thanks and appreciation to the DICOTA leadership and the organizing committee for all your efforts in organizing this very successful and memorable convention. You went beyond the call of duty. Let us all give them a hand of applause, jamani. Wameweza, hawajaweza? Well done. The embassy, of course, was gratified to be associated with the planning and coordination to ensure a successful event. We want to thank all our sponsors, all the sponsors, for your generosity and for your support. It would not have been possible without your generous support. We want to thank the local community. Yesterday, I was reminded, say, Ambassador, they are locals and natives. So we thank you for being our local hosts, but also remaining our natives. You have been a gracious host. We want to thank our children. I saw my friend giving us the history of our national anthem. I'd forgotten about that history. Tunawashukuru sana. You know, when we entered with the Chief Secretary, the procession, the dancing is what makes Tanzania. Asanteni sana. To our friends and partners and all our invited guests, please accept our sincere gratitude for making time to be with us today, despite your very, very busy schedule. It is my hope that the DICOTA 24 convention themed Empowering the Tanzania Diaspora for Socio-Economic Transformation at Home and Abroad will be a game changer towards redefining and positioning the diaspora to make a difference. We know for sure that effective and strategic use of the diaspora has assisted many countries across the globe to attain rapid economic development. In the coming 2 days, we will have time to reflect on various issues of importance in empowering the Tanzania diaspora. The program allows everybody who is invited here to engage in a constructive dialogue and share knowledge and experience in his or her field of competence for the benefit of accelerating the socio-economic development of our country. We are pleased that among us here we have senior government representatives from key sectors, the public and private institutions, the banking, the housing, health, ports, revenue, you name it. We have NGOs, local and international, as well as individual businesses who have traveled miles to be here today and engage the diaspora for the good and prosperity of our country and people. Tunasema asanteni sana kwa kuja. We have with us the representatives of the U.S. government agencies and other partners and friends of Tanzania who believe in us and are ready to work with us and the diaspora in forging partnership for mutual benefit. Together as a team, I believe we can make a difference. Last but not least, before Mr. Lunda calls me to order, I would like to assure you of the embassy's continued support and close collaboration in achieving our common objectives. As they say, Tanzania is rising. We have to keep rising and shining. And to my colleagues from the embassy, I thank you for coming, being here, but then there is no free lunch. For the 2 days, I know the diaspora will engage us. And tomorrow, we'll have a special day in the morning, but then throughout, we are here for you. We are at your service. With those many words, may I now request all of you to join me in welcoming our chief guest, Ambassador Ombeni Sefue, and the Chief Secretary of the Tanzania President's Office, who of course needs no introduction, to speak to us and officially open the 2014 DICOTA Convention. Karibu, Chief Secretary.
Please be seated. I think you guys are lucky to have Ambassador Liberata Mulamula. So use her well. Your Excellency, Liberata Mulamula, Ambassador of Tanzania to the United States, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Settlements, Alfayo Kidata, Shalbar, our Honorary Consul, Mwalimu Christopher Mwakasege. I should pause here for a while. I was credited by Ambassador Mulamula as not really a founder, but helping to generate interest in such an organization. But I should let you know that the inspiration originally came from Mwalimu Christopher Mwakasege. And thank you for recognizing his contribution. Dr. Ndaga Mwakabuta, President of DICOTA, Convention chairs, Lunda and Zainab, members of the DICOTA Board of Trustees and Executive Committee, fellow citizens and compatriots, distinguished participants and guests, ladies and gentlemen, as they say in Africa, all protocol observed. Good morning. Let Let me begin by thanking the DICOTA Board of Trustees, the Executive Committee, and the entire membership for the honor and privilege to be the guest of honor at this year's DICOTA Convention in this beautiful city of Durham, the city of medicine. That's what it's called, right? I already feel healthier. And it's good to be back in Durham City, a city I last visited in June 2009, fell in love with, and my love has been rekindled by the present visit, and truly touched by the graciousness of Mayor Bell, who I met at that time. And we talked about the sister city relationship between Durham City and Arusha. And I was in Arusha only 2 weeks ago. When I mentioned that I was coming here, they told me they continue to treasure this sister city relationship that they are privileged to have with Durham City, and entrusted me with their greetings of friendship and gratitude to the mayor, but to everyone else in this city who has contributed to nurturing and enriching this relationship. Thirdly, I want to thank the DICOTA leadership and the local organizing committee for the warmth of the reception and the hospitality that my entire delegation and I have received since our arrival, and which we continue to enjoy. I commend the good organization we have seen, and I appreciate all the facilities that have been put at our disposal as the 2014 DICOTA Convention gets on its way. I also congratulate the current DICOTA leadership for so ably and effectively steering the work of DICOTA thus far, and I wish you all a successful election process for new leaders at this convention. Fourthly, I thank all participants from the United States and from Tanzania who have come to the 2014 DICOTA Convention. The great interest shown by all these participants, I think it's an illustration of the effort that the DICOTA leadership has put in promoting this year's convention, and the realization by many Tanzanians that their personal and institutional goals and aspirations can, to an extent, be enabled through DICOTA. And I'm here to tell you, participants and sponsors, that your trust in DICOTA is not misplaced. If we all work together, we can make sure DICOTA lives up to its promise and deliver for its members and supporters. You will not be surprised to hear of my own faith in and commitment to DICOTA, for as you know, I was there with you in 2008 when it all began in Houston. We have come a long way since then. Those who were there in 2008 will remember that I cautioned that there would be skeptics, that there would be wet blankets, that there are people who are instinctively suspicious of new initiatives. People who would want one day to say, we told you so. This DICOTA thing will never fly. I counseled them, as I do now, that you must always ignore the noises of distraction and focus on your goal. George Bernard Shaw, in his comedy Candida, wrote, and I quote him, "It's easy, terribly easy, to shake a man's faith in himself. To take advantage of that to break a man's spirit is devil's work." End of quote. You in the DICOTA leadership and membership realized that your detractors were doing devil's work. You managed to ignore them, you persisted, and have succeeded. You have persevered, you have gained valuable experience and earned the trust and confidence of more people in Tanzania and in the United States. As a government, we will continue to support you, removing obstacles in your path that are within our mandate and power. The presence here of so many participants from Tanzania, from government, private sector, civil society, is a clear demonstration of the commitment I'm making to you today. I know that the past 6 years have not always been easy for DICOTA. I know you have passed through some difficult patches. I know some of you in leadership even ask yourself if it was worth it. Yet you never gave up, and I admire your courage and steadfastness. I believe that you have now crossed the Rubicon and cannot and should not turn back or even regress. As Colin Powell said, quote, always focus on the front windshield and not the review mirror, end of quote. But let me go again back to what all started and remind ourselves about what we set out to do in Houston in 2008, because I believe what I said then is as relevant today as it was at that time. The first thing you need to realize is that DICOTA cannot and should not try to take the place of community organizations. Community organizations or associations have their place and are local in nature. They perform an important function of keeping Tanzanians in a certain community together, supporting each other in important social issues such as weddings, graduations, births, deaths, as well as education, culture, jobs, health, to mention a few. DICOTA on its part must focus on larger issues of interest to all Tanzanians in America, but you still need to collaborate with local Tanzanian communities in pursuit of common goals and objectives. You also have to continue refocusing on Tanzania. It is your home. It is your roots. You have to inculcate this view in your children and the children of your children, because without your Tanzanian roots, you are obviously rootless. Without your Tanzania roots, you are rootless. Like the proverbial feather in the wind. Secondly, there are 3 banana skins on your path that you must always watch out for and avoid at all costs, for these can very easily derail DICOTA. Avoid like the plague any politics in the affairs of DICOTA. Secondly, avoid tribalism and cronyism. Thirdly, promote transparency and financial accountability. 3 banana skins, watch out for them. Thirdly, I should like you to remember that you have a role, you have a duty, and an opportunity to make an important contribution to a better Tanzania. A Tanzania you would always be proud of. I do not believe in the so-called brain drain. I believe in brain gain. What you have gained in this country, should benefit you and your children, but it should also benefit your country. It can't be a zero-sum game. It is like one candle from which many other candles can be lit. Some of you here who are of my age or close know that you received free or subsidized education in a poor country. This is what our founding president, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, referred to as a sacrifice that others have made to make you what you have become. And as Mwalimu said, you are like someone who has been given all the food in a starving village so that he can have the strength to bring back supplies for his people from a distant place. If he takes the food and never gives back any supplies from a distant place, he, Mwalimu said, is a traitor. I would not use the word traitor for the Tanzanian diaspora, even if in their wisdom they feel that they have absolutely no responsibility towards their home country. And that is why I feel quite disappointed that your strong case for dual citizenship has not garnered enough support to be inscribed in the draft constitution. Yet I believe that Mwalimu Nyerere's words will remain at the heart of what DICOTA is all about. And this brings me to my next point, a point I also made in 2008, and one which I want to repeat. You in the diaspora are not of much use to Tanzania if you are as poor here as you were in Tanzania. I will repeat. You in the diaspora are not of much use to Tanzania if you are as poor here as you were in Tanzania. America is a land of opportunity, a place where effort, talent, and innovation is handsomely rewarded. My plea to you in the DICOTA is to use DICOTA to put your heads together on how, working together, you cannot just survive but thrive and be wealthy in this country. I, however, wish to remind you of the joke that says, charity begins at home and ends up at the Waldorf Astoria or Commodore hotels. When you get rich, please make sure charity begins at home and stays at home. You can also get rich while doing good. You can get rich by building economic and trade bridges between Tanzania and America. Alone or preferably in partnership with others, you can invest and trade between the two countries. Ambassador Mulamula here, like all ambassadors in Washington and elsewhere, is paid to promote Tanzania in this country. So when she goes around to promote Tanzania as an investment or tourist destination, audiences will listen and perhaps applaud politely, but they know she's paid to do that. It's her job, and every ambassador says the same things about their own countries. But when you in the diaspora speak to your colleagues or partners in the United States, it is different, because you're not paid to do that. It's not just about doing one's job. What you say can have a certain authenticity that can appeal to the people around you in your places of work or worship, or in your places of abode or recreation. To do that, you need to keep track of developments back home. And I hope you can use the presence of so many people from positions of influence and knowledge in Tanzania who are here to update yourselves on Tanzania and the new opportunities for you and that emerge daily. And I especially want you to pay close attention to oil and gas and the economy that together we can build around this important resource. For the true value of gas is not the finite gas resource itself. It is the economy that you build around it, positioning your country and its people to diversify the economy and continue to flourish long after the gas is gone. I also want to use this opportunity to update you on what a thriving market Tanzania is poised to be. And I will use data from the recent national census conducted in 2012. I know some of you don't know these statistics. The population during the census was 44.9 million. But since it's growing at 2.7%, it should be close to 48 million now. With the size of our country, of almost 365,000 square miles, and this size of our population, we are destined to be the biggest country in East Africa region for many decades, if not centuries to come. Secondly, our GDP now is close to $35 billion, growing at over 7% annually, and a per capita income of $742 now, and inflation hovering around 6%. But some of you might have heard that we are rebasing our economy, moving the base year for computing economic output from 2001 to 2007 in order to begin capturing expanding industries such as services, mining, and natural gas. Once that is done and validated internationally, we might see the economy increasing by 20%. Some of you have heard that Kenya, our neighbors, have just completed the exercise, and they realized that the economy was actually 25% bigger than they thought. And we think it will be around the same range. Thirdly, we are rapidly becoming urbanized. We are becoming urbanized. While in 2002, only 26% of households were urban, in 2012, they were 33%. So now, 1 in every 3 Tanzanians lives in urban areas. And 1 in every 10 Tanzanians lives in Dar es Salaam. Dar es Salaam is destined to be a mega city, the biggest in the entire eastern coast of Africa. No other city will be able to challenge Dar es Salaam as the mega city of eastern coast of Africa. Mwanza, for you who come from Mwanza. Mwanza on its part will be the biggest city at the geographic center of the East African community. If you draw circumference around Mwanza, and your radius is what it takes for a plane to fly for 1 hour, you realize that from Mwanza, you can reach almost every corner of the East African community in 1 hour, and no other city can challenge that. So Mwanza is destined to be the center of the East African community. This, of course, presents a lot of business opportunities, but lots of challenges for the government and the people as well. Fourthly, the adult literacy rate in Tanzania has increased from 69% in 2002 to 78% in 2012, the time of the census. Only 62% of the working population now has farming as their occupation. We always used to say it's 80%. It's now down to 62%. And the economists among you will realize that this is a positive development. Housing conditions have improved significantly. The census showed that in 2012, 65% of all private households had used iron sheets as the main roofing material, compared to only 46% 10 years earlier. Now in Africa, that's significant. From 46% to 65% in 10 years, houses now with iron sheeting. Likewise, the proportion of dwellings with non-earth materials, the floor that's now made of cement or ceramic tiles, polished wood, terrazzo, it has increased from 26% 10 years ago to 39%. The percentage of households using electricity, at least for lighting, has more than doubled from 10% in 2002 to 21% in 2012. Right now, thanks to redoubled efforts under the Big Results Now initiative, the figure is 24%, but 36% actually now have access to electricity, even if some of them are not connected now. life expectancy at birth has increased from 50 years in 1988 to 61 in 2012. With women at 63 years, women always live longer, and men at 60. Now, I think in Africa, that's significant. That's one of the highest across Africa. Life expectancy in Tanzania is now 61 years. Infant mortality rate has declined from 115 deaths per 1,000 live births in 1988 to 45. From 115 to 45. And maternity mortality rate has likewise declined from 578 per 100,000 live births in 2004 to 432. Now, I give these statistics from the last census to show that, contrary to what you will hear and to what people say, that economic growth in Tanzania is only about numbers, it's about statistics, it has no relevance to actual quality of life, that it's not true. The actual economic growth in Tanzania, that has been growing for around 7% for more than 10 years, has indeed begun to translate into a better life for most people. It's not simply a question of impressive economic data, it's also a question of significant improvement in the quality of life. But we still have a long way to go because we come from a very low base, and you can and you should help. I ask you at the very least to be good ambassadors of your country. And everybody can do that. But what does it mean, being a good ambassador for your country? First, it means that you have to know your country well. Relying on objective sources of information. Do not depend entirely on blogs to keep abreast of what is happening back home. Read more of the serious, authentic, and reliable stuff. We are trying to make the government more open and interactive with the public. Most government ministries and departments are putting more and more information on their websites, and they're trying to keep the content updated. But you also need to know America, your adopted home. You need knowledge beyond your immediate neighborhood or state. It's only then that you can know of the different opportunities there are for Tanzania, as well as for Tanzania-US relations. Secondly, to be good ambassadors, you need to project and promote a good image of your country and help it to put its best foot forward. Always remember that by your conduct, people form an opinion not only of you, but also an opinion of your country as well. Thirdly, always look for opportunities to strengthen the links between Tanzania and the United States. The opportunities are abound if only we all keep our eyes and ears open. And here I should like to commend all those among you who have, on your own or in partnership with others, invested in Tanzania. I should like to see as many of them as possible succeed and share their experiences. Last Sunday, I was very happy and privileged to visit an excellent medical facility in Dar es Salaam, put up by one of you, Dr. Crispin Semakula. And what I was told there was that his instruction is that the facility must pass the American standard. Every equipment, every process must meet the American standard. I was extremely proud. I do hope he will get an opportunity to talk about it. I know there may be challenges, but success such as his prove one point. No challenge is insurmountable as long as there is the indomitable will to succeed. No challenge is insurmountable as long as there is the indomitable will to succeed. And before I conclude, I want to join you all in thanking DICOTA sponsors, not just for this convention, but in all the previous ones as well. Without them, I'm sure DICOTA would not have survived or achieved so much. And on a special note, I want to recognize the role and participation of U.S. government agencies, the World Bank, U.S. businesses, Honorary Consul Shelberg, thank you so much, and Friends of Tanzania, among others, in forging partnerships with the Tanzania diaspora and working with them to build bridges for trade, investment, tourism, education, culture between Tanzania and the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, you have all been polite and listened to me attentively. So I will leave you with a joke. Two friends were talking about another guy. I'll never invite him to my parties again, one said. Why? The other asked. He said, you know, last time he did something I did not like. What was that? He came. You invited us. We hope you meant it. And we hope we will not do anything to deny us an invitation to the next convention. Last but not least is my gratitude to the Millennium Hotel management and staff for availing their excellent facilities, expertise, and facilitation for the success of the 2014 DICOTA Convention. And in conclusion, I want to thank you all once again for the invitation, for the warmth and kindness. I also want to assure you of continued government support. As a government, we will do, as I said, all we can to help you, and that is why so many of us have come all the way from Tanzania for this convention. Use this opportunity well to resolve any issues you might have and to build the networks that you might find useful in the days ahead. I wish the 2014 DICOTA Convention great success, and it is officially opened. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our first plenary session on resources in Tanzania for diasporans, include citizenship, constitution, banking, and insurance as they relate to our theme of empowering the Tanzanian diaspora for socio-economic transformation at home and abroad. Every speaker will have 10 minutes. I kindly ask that you remain within your time slot just so that everyone may have a chance to speak. Should you go beyond your time limit, I will ring the bell respectfully, and by then you only have 1 minute to wrap up. Okay, so I will call some of the members who are going to speak at this time. If you hear your name, please come to the front. Our first topic is on the role of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in engaging diaspora for development of the country. From the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Rosemary Jairo. The next speaker is from the Faculty of Law at University of Dar es Salaam. Please welcome Bonaventure Rutinwa.